Oh, that's it. We're live. Whoa. One click of a button and we are live. What's going on, everyone? Let's just make sure. I always do my check. Make sure we're on. Let's see. It looks like we are on. Cool. I see us on YouTube. So,
Sweet.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara.
And I am Mark. If you're new to the channel, welcome.
We're Wiki Design. We do website tutorials. We do live streams like this. And we're doing some really cool stuff on this channel, so subscribe if you haven't already. We got some cool animation stuff coming, some other cool things, so check us out.
Yeah. I feel a little tired still. So it's 9 a.m. here. What time is it at your location? I like to go a little bit live early because people in the UK and stuff, it's probably mid-afternoon.
Yeah, we have a lot of people from the UK that
Yeah.
watch your videos, so welcome.
Yeah, I'm definitely the more the more time goes on, I keep thinking about how small we are in this country. Like I just saw a stat the other day where the U.S. is only like 4% of the population, which it's kind of eye opening because when you live here in the United States, we live in a bubble where we think it's like we're the biggest country and but we're not. We're just like little. So
I
I'm
mean,
like,
we have a lot of land,
yeah,
but not a lot of population.
yeah, exactly, and. Yeah, we're gonna get passed up, I think, pretty soon. Hey, Toby, what's up? We were actually. How do you click? How do you do this? Add to broadcast. There we go. I'm still learning this software. Yeah, so we were gonna mention you earlier, later in the video, because yeah, what we're watching, we're really looking forward to your Croco Block series on the dynamic stuff. It's definitely needed because. Yeah, a lot of the tutorials, mine, yours, Paul's, a lot of the other creators, it's as if you kind of already know about dynamic information. So I think it would be great to have like a beginner because it is a little complicated.
Yeah, I'm really excited for your channel.
Yeah.
It's gonna take off, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good because this is a good time to get into like dynamic information. And
Oh, yeah.
because I really do feel like just normal, like boring kind of static websites, they're still going to exist, but we've noticed more and more clients, they want dynamic filtering. Filtering is a huge thing. So with your queries and all of that, you're going to be able to do some really cool stuff. Yeah, because we just had a project. I mentioned it last time where it's like we had a query of a bunch of staff, and for some reason they really wanted it to be where you can sort by last name. So yeah, it was. It was
It's
a lot.
a lot of things that I think people that don't know development think, oh, it's just simple, just sort it by last name because that's how they see it
Somewhere
on
else.
other, websites. But it's not as simple as
I know.
it looks. So, these things are people like, why can't you just do that? I was like, well, we have to, basically restructure the whole way.
Well, I was curious. I thought about you when I did that because I was like, they just had like the title, so the name was like Mark Crowell. They didn't have it as two separate meta fields, and so I had to go in and make it two separate meta fields and make it easy. I was wondering if you could do it where it was just one big meta field, and I know you probably could. And then it had the last name sorted. But then I think what was weird is like some people have like an initial in the middle. So that would throw off everything. So it was like, Patrick Uhulaham or something. It's like.
Did you just give Toby a video idea?
Yeah. What's up, David? Yeah. I'm glad you guys always trying to jump on here. I try to make it to your guys' channel. It's usually after I saw you were doing the accessibility stuff yesterday. We were working on a project, but yeah, I was curious. So is it you were doing Elementor accessibility like reviews? I didn't see the whole video yet, but yeah, there's so much with accessibility for sure. All right. So yeah, this is just one of those free for all. We just kind of sit and just chill and talk about a few different topics. So the first thing is what we'd like to do is like the weekly recap.
What happened this week?
Yeah.
Good things that happened. We're gonna launch a website hopefully today.
Yeah.
So that's always good. It's always fun to see your project come to life. This was for a company that does solar energy, so it was pretty cool, really interesting. This is like a phase 1 of the website. They're going to be adding a lot more content and a lot more stuff down the road, but they needed to revamp what they had, because what they had was honestly a mess.
Oh God, it was. I
It was
logged in. I think it
horrible.
was 46 plugins.
Yeah, they
multiple
had like
SEO
4
I was like,
SEO
no.
plugins, like 3 analytics plugins. It was just like a mess. I think there's just like way too many people like coming and going and working on it at
Yeah.
different times over the years. So we kind of wiped everything clean, made it a lot more organized, and I'm really excited for their growth because it's a cool product. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, down the road we might do some like cool animation stuff, or
Yeah.
I just want to see like this product come to life and grow over the years. I think it's going to be cool. So
Mm-hmm.
that's always exciting to launch a website.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to go back to what we were saying, like when you log in and you just see a mess,
Mm-hmm.
there's two things that could happen. It was either the person who made it just doesn't understand that installing like 3 SEO plugins is,
Not necessary.
well, it could it could like really have some issues. Like you could have a lot of conflicts. So it was like no education there, or a bad developer. Just he's had multiple developers going there and they're afraid to turn stuff off. But that's why like when I host a website, any client that we do and we host a website and maintain it, if I start to see developers go in there and start adding crap, I let the client know. I'm like, hey, just so you know, there's someone in here adding a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a problem, and then I'm not going to be responsible if something breaks. I educate as we go. So that's something that a lot of people don't really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that people, they just don't know, and they think, oh, this is fine because it's in the WordPress plugin repository. I'm just gonna install this and it's gonna do what I want it to do, and then they don't realize until something breaks that you can't do that, and then who do they come to? Us.
Yeah.
So we try to prevent that from happening by giving everything that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like part of the process is to like make sure that you really hone in on like what is it that you need, and make sure that when you build the website you're providing all of that, and just educating people on like you don't need to install these plugins to do like one little thing.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just install a plugin to do that, and it's like, well, do
just-
you really need that? And
Oh yeah, there's a lot of like bad plugins out there where they're just like the Monster Insights, like what is it? I used to use the all-in-one SEO, and then it just became bloated and all these pop-up messages. I hate when there's a plugin and it just starts adding other plugins on top of it, and I'm just like, what is going on? There's all these pop-ups going on, so I get rid of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's another good point is sometimes plugins in WordPress start out really great, and then over time they add like way too much stuff, or it's just not as good. So it's always a good idea to like go through your website and check those plugins to make sure that this is stuff that you actually use and need, because over time your website could change and you don't need all the stuff that you once did before. So that's a good
One thing
point.
I saw, have you guys seen this too? I saw somewhere out there, I saw it on Facebook or something, where I was telling her now instead of these plugins injecting upsells like at the admin panel, they're doing it in the Gutenberg editor. So that's going to be a problem, like a huge problem. I'm like, if that does like happen, we're going to run into some issues. You want to read this? Oh, hey, what's up, Emron? He's
Hi,
here.
Emron. I took on a client last week, big holiday company, no e-commerce, with 36 plugins. Now we're close to completing, and the site is so much more crisper and lean with 7 plugins.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I feel like that happens all the time with us. Like when people are like, I need my website redesigned, a lot of the times they have so much stuff on it that they don't need. So I think part of our job is to figure out what it is that you truly need on your website, and then figure out how to get there with the least amount of plugins as possible, because your site's going to be so much more organized, it's going to load better, you're not going to run into those conflicts.
And definitely, like I said, educating along the way too. So, like once in a while, like one of our clients will hire like an SEO company, and I'm very upfront. I'm like, just so you know,
Lightly.
we're going to run into some major issues because they're going to add a bunch of crap to your website. I'm not going to be able to fix it. So once in a while, we do lose a hosting client because an SEO company basically hijacks their website and takes it over. So I just tell them, like, look, this is what's going to happen. They're going to take your website and they're going to mess it up, and you're going to have a really bloated website, and then you're going to get no return on your investment with this SEO company. I'll be here in a year or two when you want to come back. So I do tell. I'm very
and that's happened to
yeah.
a few of our clients, and they did come back and say, yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
I wasted thousands of dollars. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you can't
force
people to
I
do
tell
what
people,
you want to do.
I try to tell people, one of the worst things you can do, there's two bad things, is, of course, don't have access to your own domain registration. That's a problem. Like if a developer has your domain, that's the big red flag. And another one is an SEO or marketing company should not be hosting your website. You should actually have a professional who knows how to manage a server.
One caveat: if the company has somebody on their team that is like a server admin and knows what they're doing, then I would say that's maybe okay. But if it's just, an
SEO company and they outsource crap all the time.
Social media marketer that like has no idea what she's doing, doesn't know the first thing about how to develop a website or post it, like that's a problem. So I would just say, look into that. As a client, look into that. Make sure that the people that are hosting your website actually know what they're doing, and they're not just like outsourcing it to, GoDaddy, and like you get no support with like companies like that. So just make sure that this is your website. That's the thing that like kind of drives me mad is people just don't even think about that. It's like if your hosting is like the most important part of your website. People only focus on like the design and how it looks and all that. If you don't have your website up and running, none of that matters. So
or if like,
you need to make sure that it's up and running, and if something happens, that people are going to take care of it.
Exactly. Yeah, like this morning, for example, one of our client websites got hit with a bot, really, really aggressive bot, tried to take it down. Within 4 minutes, I had the IP address blocked, everything was good to go. But if you're completely clueless on where your cPanel is or how do you get access to anything, you're not going to be able to run a website. Like
it's so important, and people
and the attacks
overlook it.
They're not slowing down. Like they're getting worse.
They're
over
getting
the years.
worse.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just scams and bots and like everything. Now we just actually heard a story this morning about how people are now scamming the community college system. So in America, we have like universities, like state schools, like
Harvard,
on like Ivy League. But then we also have like community colleges, which is like almost like a transition between high school and regular university. So you can go there, take like the things that you need to take to get your degree, like English, math, all those things. It's a lot cheaper to do that. That's something that I did. I actually went to community college because I was like, I don't want to spend all this money to take these classes that have nothing really to do with my degree. I would rather save the money and then transfer those credits. So apparently in California, there's a school in San Diego where they were getting like people signing up for online classes, and you can get grants through the state to take these classes. So if you can't afford it, you get a grant. So people were making bots, signing up for these online classes, using AI to like complete a few assignments, and then once they got their grant money, they bounced. So like they're just stealing money from people that actually need it to further their education, and it's just like really.
Well, I was saying it this morning. I was like, I hate that I have to live this way, but I literally now anything I consume news-wise, anything I think is fake. And then I just assume everybody's trying to scam me. I hate that I have to live that way, but that's the way you have to live to protect yourself, because I get a million text messages every day,
Me too.
emails, we get phone calls, and 99% of them is just spam. They want to outsource the work, or it literally is like hey, you didn't your PayPal invoice is overdue. I was like, what? So yeah,
let's look at some of the chats we're kind of.
Yeah.
This is why I like it when a company has a suite of plugins like Crocoblock, Fluent Shore, and others, because you can never be sure of compatibility when there are too many authors. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we like to use them too, because I feel like they have a big team behind them. Some of these plugins is just like some hobbyist that's like, oh, let me, make this plugin. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But for major development and, big company websites, like you need more of a team in case something goes wrong. So that's why we like using those plugins too.
Yep.
What did Emron say? Thankfully, they were open to a whole redesign with a fresh site because I hate it when they decline and there's so much legacy. Yeah, we don't work on sites like that. So if somebody comes to us and they're like, oh, I want you to edit my existing crap site with 100 plugins, we're going to say no. Like we don't work on sites that we didn't build. So if you want to work with us, then you have to do a whole redesign, and we'll make it so that those 100 plugins that you had installed goes down to like 10.
Yeah. And then, I'm part of Jeff. He's got the Lightbox Academy. You can sign up for his community. I'm in those live chats pretty often, but I was just mentioning it the other day. Like we were talking about scope creep. That was like one of our live calls inside his community. And you have to like we're always changing our processes, for example. And so what we were just saying is we had an issue just recently where I'm no longer going to work on WP Engine servers at all. Like if a client wants us to have update their WP Engine website, we're going to decline that offer. Because,
so explain why we're not.
Well, a lot of issues. The main one is honestly in this last client, we were working on a website with this client. Everything was going okay for a little bit. Then they decided that it was a good idea to let we were doing like white labeling, and the company in the middle allowed the client to come in while we're developing a website and start making changes. And then the problem with WP Engine, there's no revisions on their stupid servers. Oh my God. So they were like, overriding.
They were overriding stuff and breaking things as we were developing it. And then, the person that we're working with is like, oh, well, why isn't this working anymore? We're like, I don't know. Like something happened, and then they basically think that we're lying and we didn't do what we said
and
we were doing.
Revisions,
and there's no revisions to go back. And like we told them multiple times, like this is not a good idea to let people that don't know what they're doing go in. Like I don't care how much you think you know what you're doing. Like, oh, I'm experienced with WordPress, and you're not, because we're developing things. Things are still in process.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't go into somebody's site when it's still in process and somebody's working on it. And I do know what I'm doing.
So yeah,
because
that's why
you don't know what they're doing while you're working on something.
That's why I was saying it's always good. Like we update our process, our contracts all the time. So literally we're not going to even take on that project anymore. Like I don't feel comfortable doing it because I'm doing all these advanced queries on there, and I'm like, at any moment they could hit the wrong button and then everything is going to get ruined.
Gets wiped away.
And another thing too, I hated with WP Engine. So we were working on a development staging server, and they have caching on it. So they have I was like, why is there caching on a development server?
It's slower than molasses.
Yeah, and so that's another thing too. Is like we're used to working in a really fast environment, so we're literally wasting time because in between all these page loads, like that adds up. You know how it is. Like when you're working on a website, every single extra 5 seconds, that's going to add up over the rest of the day. So. Yeah, that's a new one. I'm not working. I think that I'll just go on record. I don't care. I think they're the worst hosting platform out there. I would say they're as bad as Bluehost, even worse because they don't have the revisions. And you have to fight. I think you have to fight to get extra
and they charge
memory
so
limits.
Much
for
hosting. It's like...
Well, that was one thing we can kind of jump into. I was telling her, I think she doesn't keep up with the WordPress news as nearly as much as me, but I think that the big news now is the last update. What was it, 6.8? I was telling her they're no longer going to have big updates anymore. It's going to be one big update a year and then probably just security patches throughout. So
that's really surprising.
Yeah, this is my take on it is it failed. Like I think that like the Gutenberg editor, we all know it's not great, like the FSC. So what I thought was weird is a couple weeks ago they introduced the AI builder. So now WordPress.com, they're going all in on the AI builder. And so I think that they're going to be ditching support on the back end, because I'm like, if you aren't innovating and adding features like every month at minimum, this builder's gonna fail. There's no way you're not gonna keep up with the Elementors, the Bricks, any of these other ones out there, because they're gonna run circles around you.
Let's go to the chat. But aren't there no multiple restore points to go back to with the?
I think so. I think you can. But the problem with that was we were just like white labeling, so we didn't have access to the server.
We didn't have access to it.
Yeah.
And
even if they did,
it's like you have to go through this whole process and like contact, and like there's no support. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like you shouldn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
You should, like, they should allow you to have revisions in Elementor.
Yep.
And then they just completely wipe it away.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Like Brian's here. What's up? We got all of our regulars here. I like it. Yeah.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Yeah, we've been missing some of your live streams. They go in the afternoon, and I'm either taking a nap at that time, walking. So sometimes I miss.
Usually.
I'll catch it at the end real quick.
So usually, like, we'll work a couple hours in the morning. Then after lunch, we kind of like we'll like work out. We'll like go on our walk and do stuff, and that's kind of. And then we have to do work in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we split up our day.
So I call it. So in other countries, in this country, we're like workaholics. Like there's this whole mindset: you got to work 40 hours a week. You got to work all the time. I'm doing the siestas in the afternoon. I'm taking breaks now. I'm like, we're at a point now where we don't have to work the whole 8 hours. I'm like, I'm tired to really, my afternoons, I like to get all my work done before lunch and then kind of chill the rest of the afternoon. So that's why I'm able to read, take naps, take a walk. I have to get an oil change today, just do stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. We're at a point now where it's just like we're working less. I'm trying to work a lot less these days for sure.
All right. So we talked about one of the things we're watching is like these WordPress updates. Another thing that I'm watching is, I don't know if he's still in here, but Toby's YouTube channel. Check out Toby's YouTube channel because he's doing some really awesome stuff with dynamic content. And if you want to learn how to do that, I think that he's the channel to go to because he's approaching it from like a beginner level. So as if you're not somebody that knows a lot about that and you want to learn about it, go to his channel. I'm like really excited.
Well, I'd like to get, since everyone in here that I can see, we're all content creators. How do you guys feel these days creating content? Like, it's becoming like a hamster wheel for me when it comes to especially like the web design. Like, I feel like I've made a lot of the good videos I wanted. Of course, there's like unlimited, but I'm just getting tired of it. So I'm actually making a big shift. I'll give you a quick background, but yeah, I'm going back into 3D animation. I'm going to go heavy on Blender. So that's the software that you can make 3D animations and stuff like that. I'm a retired 3D Studio Max user from like over 10 years ago. So I have a lot to learn. And so I'm starting to see that there's gaps in the Blender community where I could help teach people like from the beginning, because it is, if you ever use Blender, it's very complicated to get started. Like there's a lot of hotkeys. It's very different than other 3D programs. So
he showed me his cheat sheet, and there was just like
all
buttons
over.
And not like all. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. So I'm starting to get. I got burned out. Like I say it often. I'm like, I think I've hit that point. So I'm gonna start going heavy on Blender tutorials on our channel.
Well, what I think is exciting about you doing more animation stuff is the possibility of kind of integrating that into the web.
That's the whole. That's the huge. Nobody really does that, and so I have the spline background. I have 3D and I have web. I can tie all that together, and I can create a very specific. I could do some really cool stuff where it's like you click on certain HTML buttons and it will interact with the 3D model in real time.
I think
like
that's really cool.
There's a lot there.
I'm excited to see what you learn in the videos that you make.
Sometimes I say I'm going to do stuff, but I have to commit to this, and it's like it's going to be a big undertaking. North Carolina, yay!
Currently in North Carolina, I get privilege of. Yeah, that's not a fun drive.
You get to go down 95.
95 is the worst.
But you know what? That part of 95 down to Florida isn't too bad. It's
just boring.
From Philly down to like past DC, that's
Ugh.
a nightmare. Like
It's so
every
much
time I drive it, I'm
traffic,
like,
yeah.
I hate it.
But it's just a boring road. There's nothing really to look at.
Yeah.
At least when you drive in other parts of the country, there's like mountains and it's really pretty.
Yeah.
You know, you're driving for hours, but at least you have some scenery. 95 is just road and like billboards for south of the border.
Yeah. Creating content, you're tired too, but I took money from. Jokes aside, though, it's difficult to create content. I haven't put out a video for. It
is difficult, and I think people don't realize how difficult it is.
Yeah.
You know, you have to come up with a good idea, then you have to like research that idea, then film it, then edit it. It's a lot of work. So I think what you're doing, Toby, is awesome. So keep it up. But I totally understand that you're getting tired because we've all been there.
Yeah, I keep saying hamster wheel because that's what I just feel like I'm running in a circle, and it's like I'm getting the same results. We don't get a lot of views, and I definitely am noticing across the board. Like I've seen on YouTube, it's just people aren't getting the engagement and the views like they were. Like there's a lot of changes going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we've talked about this offline, but one of the things that bothers me and kind of makes me feel like I'm on that hamster wheel is like I don't want to keep creating the same things that like everybody else is creating, and I feel like I can't come up with a lot of like original ideas in the web space. So that's where I've been struggling. It's like I want to come up with new ideas that are more creative and interesting, but it's just hard. So yeah, like sometimes we might not put out a video for a while just because I don't want to just put out a video to put out a video. I want to make something good and creative and interesting.
Yeah.
So that's a huge struggle.
Yep. So thanks, Brian. You're saying great content. I can see. The burnout is real. Yeah, I like how you're focusing on the marketing for small businesses. That's a good.
That's important.
Yeah, a lot of small businesses, especially like the local SEO. I always did that in quotes. I think there's still a lot of things that you can do to help small businesses grow. I think now
more than ever, small businesses need the help.
Yeah.
You know, like we're in some crazy times.
But
and small businesses are always the ones that get hurt the most. So
I'm definitely seeing, and a lot of people agree too. Small businesses got to go back to traditional marketing ways, billboards. You got to really establish the brand. That's like I keep. As much as I'm not in the SEO world, I keep up with what the hell's going on, and they're all saying the same thing now. Where it's like, yeah, you can maybe trick it once in a while. You might get your website ranked, but it's not like it used to be. Like the old days of SEO are gone. You got to create a brand that people actually are going to actively search with or without Google. And so that is the power. And it's
all about branding. What's the thing that
I've
always said? Yeah. Like
we've been saying that for 10 years.
SEO is great when it works, but you need to build a brand. So don't put all your eggs into the Google basket. You got to build the brand. If you build the brand and build that reputation, then people are going to continue to come back despite changes in Google, because all that stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like these are businesses, and Google the judge just ruled that their ad network is a monopoly, so they're going to have to break it up probably. That's probably going to be years down the road because these things move at a glacial pace. But things are changing is the point. Yeah. So you can't rely on these platforms forever. You have to build the brand. That's the most important thing.
So yeah, you like going live too. Yeah, it is fun to just kind of ramble. Like I feel so much more comfortable doing this than. It's making me better on camera when I do have to do other things.
I've noticed that you're.
I used to be real stiff, like right here. Like we have like a script, and I'm like, I would read it and be like, now we're gonna go over our category. I used to be like that. I don't even read scripts anymore.
I think that it just comes with time. You know, the more you do this, you sit in front of this black box and talk to yourself, the better you get.
So what were you saying? Working on my ideas at the moment as well. Yeah, it's the long form. I think the thing that's most frustrating is I put so much work sometimes into like the idea, the developing. Like I spend a couple of days sometimes trying to come up with something, make the video and then it's a complete flop. Like, but
Well,
like I said, with our channel, like I'll make a video and then it will perform horrible, and then all of a sudden 6 months later, a year later, it will spike.
right.
So
New ideas are generally in the Facebook communities, testing, implementing a solution, editing. You guys have a ton of videos. I have no idea how you're doing it. I don't know how we're doing it either. But I definitely think that we're going to shift our channel and our content. It's something that we were talking about a couple days ago, is like, we started our YouTube channel as like, we're going to make web design videos, like go all in on that basically, and that's what we did, and that's what worked for us, and that's what helped grow our channel to what it is today. But I think now we want to shift our focus into other things, not just web design, because like we said, that hamster wheel, like we just feel like we're kind of making the same thing over and over again, and everybody else is doing the same thing, and we want to do something different because we're not just web designers. We do a lot of different things, so expect to see different things like animation with his Blender stuff, and I'm working on a couple different ideas, so it's going to be more of a robust channel.
yeah, and I'm okay with messing up our algorithms and all
Well,
that.
I honestly think that
I like
my
to
biggest
experiment.
problem with the YouTube algorithm is that everybody tries to follow it to a T and figure it out or whatever. And then what happens is everybody makes the exact same videos. Like, everybody wants to be Mr. Beast and do the thumbnails just like Mr. Beast because he is the most popular YouTube channel. So you have a ton of thumbnails where people are like, and, you know, like doing these crazy things to get attention. It's like everybody just looks exactly the same now, and everybody's content is exactly the same because they're trying to find this YouTube algorithm. I kind of feel like if you do the exact opposite, maybe that's gonna get attention. I don't know.
Oh, what was that? We were talking about watching that. We watched a documentary on Netflix about the mommy influence. Not mommy.
It was called Bad
Bad
Influence,
Influencers?
and it was about
That was a good one. Yeah.
these. I've never heard of these kids, but they're like really popular YouTube tubers, and they're called The Squad. It's for kids, but the mom that was like running it, she was a real psycho and was like forcing these poor children to work like 14-hour days and making them do stuff that was like really inappropriate for children. And
it's because she was literally following exactly the most popular YouTubers at the time. So yeah, that was
like she knew how to get the publicity and the views, but at the cost of making her child be this like child YouTube star, and then like all her friends that were part of this squad were also being exploited, and it was just like really sad. I felt really bad for these kids.
One thing I took away was they had a guy that was working with them in the beginning, like the marketing and the promotion of it. I like what he said because I've always knew this. I've always heard it. It's nice to hear from someone who's in it. But he was like, yeah, every big YouTube channel, they buy engagement. They're buying followers. They're buying views to help like push the algorithm. So when you're getting to a certain point and you hire these companies, they're just buying the bots. They're just buying.
And that's what he was kind of explaining it. But it was just really sad. But I mean, if you have kids, like I would recommend watching it because it really goes into like how toxic this space can be for children.
Oh yeah.
You just gotta like protect your kids because a lot of like the mom had one kid and she was like kind of the star, but then she brought on all these other kids that wanted to be YouTube actors and stuff, and like their parents didn't really know what was going on until it was too late. So I think if you have kids and they're like, I want to be a YouTuber, like just maybe watch this documentary because it was crazy.
Well, it goes back into like the grind. Like these kids, they were literally working, like she's saying, like full days.
Full day, like more than a full day's work. And
the mom was making like $500,000 a month on just ads alone. Crazy. And so she wasn't giving that to the kids. It's a disaster. Probably trying to figure out.
And also, that kind of gets into the whole like there needs to be laws
yeah.
changed around child labor for like these YouTube stars, because it is work. It's a lot of work, and these kids weren't going to school because, like, if you're a traditional actor as
They were
a
doing
child,
homeschooling, but
well, yeah, if you're a traditional actor, like, you know, you work for Disney or Nickelodeon, like, they have teachers that are required to come in because kids need to learn for a certain amount of hours a day. None of that was happening because it was YouTube.
yeah.
And they don't consider that the same, but it
And when
is.
you
If
work on
anything, it's more work that they were doing.
When you work on a studio, the kids can only work a certain amount of hours a
Yeah.
day. It's like very heavily regulated.
But it's not regulated when it comes to anything online.
No.
So they need to really
Because you just
change
make
those
it in your
laws.
living room. So that's why I'm like, I don't know how they can regulate it. I don't think you're not going to have a person and they're like, oh no, this kid's working
But I feel
too
like
much in the living room.
I kind of feel like if you're making money, like you know, you have to like file taxes, and like you have a business, like they need to make sure that those businesses are being looked into and protect children.
Yeah. All right. So you teaching your clients how to optimize things. Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Educating the clients.
Educating the clients, especially the small business owners, on how to do things themselves. That this just gives them more power. You know, like knowledge is power. If they can learn how to do things themselves, they have control over how their money is being spent and what they're doing. I think that's really important. Mark Cronkite. Yeah, it was not as good as Walter Cronkite. He was more like a robot.
Oh, yes. I knew he was a reporter, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to be so scared when I would get on the camera. I've come a long way, but I still not very super comfortable.
I'm enjoying the stream so much, but unfortunately I have to watch the replay. I gotta run, but I have
All right. Take it
Bye,
easy. Yeah.
Bye, Toby. Keep doing awesome content.
Yes, we'll be there. Yeah. Turd buckets.
Unbelievable turd buckets out there.
I always like when you turd buckets. I like that one.
Yeah, turd bucket. Yeah. Yeah. Watch if you have kids, especially watch the documentary. It was
well, I found it
very
fascinating just
eye-opening.
because we're in the industry a little bit, so I know the grind. It sucks. Like I couldn't imagine these kids waking
Being
up every morning
a
and
kid.
there was a lot of like. Then it becomes a very like sexual driven. It's all over the place. This documentary is wild.
Well, it was basically anything to get the views and the engagement, and like it was just it got really dark.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about
So I'm still.
something else. So we kind of got off track, but so Mark is learning Blender. That's one of the things that we're learning. And one of the ideas that I had for a video, and tell me what y'all think. So we like to travel a lot. We've been to a lot of different countries, and one of the things that we've noticed is how their user interfaces and their websites are a lot different than what we're accustomed to in the US. So I was thinking it could be a cool idea to do some research on that and make a video surrounding like how different user interfaces are in
I
other
wouldn't just say a
countries.
video. You could do like a whole series.
Yeah, maybe
Every
a whole
country we go
series. But I think it's really cool. Like we went to Japan a couple of years ago, and their websites look so different than
Well, even their menus at restaurants too.
Yeah. And it's because they're kind of used to like seeing a bunch of stuff like at once. Like if you go to Tokyo, it's like Times Square on steroids everywhere you go. Like there's just billboards and lights and sounds. It's like kind of overwhelming and overstimulating, but they're used to that. So for them to like see a minimalist website, they'd be like, what is this? This is weird. So it's almost like part of their culture. So I thought it would be a cool video to do. And maybe it could turn into a couple different videos to explore how websites and user interfaces are different in other countries.
Yeah.
So tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Thailand at the end of the year, so we're gonna experiment with that, and maybe what we can do is like get a bunch of pictures or video of like how their subway systems terminals are.
Yeah.
I actually back when I used to work at the engineering firm, I actually made in the Tampa airport. I made one of the kiosk stations there. I made the interface for all the buttons. I kind of like doing UI UX, but it's just not something that we explore too much. Maybe I was telling her, I was like, if you want to get into that, that's a really good industry that still is going to have a good future because
I mean,
there's no way AI anytime soon is going to make a good graphical interface that like people will understand how to use it, especially
Yeah.
culture wise. Like it can't really do it that well, like not even close. Green
that
County.
would be good.
Yeah.
I think I see this would be great content that people would be
Like
like,
I'm gonna say at the White Lotus. Yeah, she's watching the White Lotus right now. I'm, like,
yeah, I
I'm
am
not staying at that
watching-
one. I saw in the beginning they all get shot up. I don't want to do that one.
Yeah, that I watched that. I like watching that show. It's just like a
You got
fun,
like 3
weird show.
episodes left or so, I think.
Yeah, I'm not caught up like everybody else. But I think I have like 3 episodes left. I like it. I think it's a fun show. It's not like groundbreaking and
Yeah.
amazing, but it's fun.
We,
And I
we
like shows
actually
like
already
that.
booked our hotel. It's a nice hotel. It's one of the nicer hotels we've stayed in. And how much was it USD? Like 120 bucks a night. And
No,
it's
it was
less.
it was like $85.
$85 a night, and it's like equivalent to a 5-star here in this country.
Yeah,
It's,
Thailand is a lot cheaper.
oh yeah, and it's gonna be super nice.
I love Walton. Yeah, he's great in it.
Which guy is that?
He's the one of the characters in the White Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good show.
We were upset that what's her name in it? She wasn't in it this year.
Jennifer Coolidge. Yeah, I love Jennifer Coolidge. She was in the past 2 seasons. She's not
Yeah.
in this one, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to go see these places. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited. Like I want to go see Thailand.
Yeah.
I'm like really.
Like I said,
excited
I don't know.
now.
It's just the more and more I'm well traveled and I'm becoming more educated about how things are working in this world. We're in such a bubble in this country. We just forget we're only 4% of the population. It's like we're nothing. Like that's what I like about doing this too. Is like I've met people from all around the world doing live streams and connecting with other people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it's cheap.
Yes.
It's a lot cheaper than staying in hotels in America. I'm sure the food's going to be really good and a
Yeah.
lot cheaper. Like it's crazy how expensive things have gotten here.
Yeah. And then
right. So, how long have we been going?
it says at the top of here 42 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
It goes by pretty quick. Yeah.
All right. So, the last thing that we wanted to throw in is end on a positive note and talk about some of the things that we love this week. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, she made really good pork yesterday. I really love that. Yeah.
I made pulled pork. I
A
remember
good pound cake. You made a pretty good
I made pound cake. Yeah. So one of the things that I love that I put on this list is cooking. And that's something that a couple years ago, like, wasn't really into. I kind of got into it during the pandemic because that was the only thing that you could do was cook. And I really love it. I really enjoy trying new recipes, and I love when, like, something comes together. And, like, I never made pulled pork before.
Yeah.
Tried it out yesterday, and it turned out awesome.
Really
And
good,
it was fun. Like, I really like doing that. I'm really trying to do things that don't involve technology.
yeah.
And cooking is one of those
And
things.
we have a good dynamic here because she likes to cook, and I actually really like to clean. That's really rare for a guy to like. I don't mind doing the dishes, cleaning up, doing laundry because it's like a good. I hate cooking, and she hates doing laundry. So I'm like, all right, let's. That's how a good marriage works. Like you got to have people who work together, not fight every time. I don't want to do laundry. It's your turn. Like, just do it. Right?
Yeah. So I made some good pulled pork.
Yeah.
And Mark really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Might tweak the recipe a little bit, try to make it better.
Yeah.
But it's the first time I ever did it.
As far as like loves, like I don't know if it's loves, but if I've been sitting and just watching more and more like Blender tutorials. I kind of like not knowing how to do stuff. It makes me explore, get creative, do new things. Because I wouldn't say, of course, I don't know everything about the web, but like I feel like I've hit a wall
You're tapped
where
out.
I'm like, okay, how much more stuff can I do? I could always do more crazy advanced queries and SQLs and all that. I don't really want to do that. So I'm like, it's nice to go to something that's more creative, and it's just, I like it. I'm finding new ways that we could, offer this as like a service. We could do a lot of this. Could go in a lot of different directions.
And I
for
think
sure.
that learning something new is always good.
Mhm.
And the more you learn about Blender, I think that you're going to start exploring ways to incorporate that
Yeah.
into websites.
For
So
sure.
I think it's going to like reignite
Yeah.
your love for the web.
Yeah, because for 3D, I would say, because I got kind of burned out on 3D for a while.
Brian says the split duties for sure. My wife won't let me touch the laundry. So funny story. A couple of months ago, my mom had to get a knee replacement, and I went. She lives in Nevada, so I went out there to help her out because my dad is kind of useless when it comes to like cooking and laundry and all that stuff. So I went there and I did laundry for my mom. And she was like, "Oh, you do it so much better than your dad." She's like, "Last time your dad did laundry, he just took the hamper and threw it in the washing machine and didn't separate anything, and everything came out like all messed up. He didn't check the pockets." And I was
You
like,
gotta
"Yeah."
check the pockets. I was about to say, I kind of like, I check the pockets, and once in a while you find some money. I'm like, oh yeah, money.
Well, I guess like he had like a tissue in his pocket and it got
Yeah,
all over.
that
And
too.
she's like, "I had to rewash everything." So I was like, "I'm so glad you're here." I'm like, "Yeah, some things you just need to leave alone, Dad." Laundry is one of them.
I don't know what's up. So we have a newer dryer. It's not like the best dryer, but a few coins were stuck in one of our pockets, and it's like underneath, like the flap, like inside. There's like these flaps. It's like tucked underneath. I can't get it out. The only way to get that flap out is I have to like take off the front panel. I was like, God.
So the coins just live in there forever.
Yeah,
now.
they're all worn out. Just I could hear it. Yeah.
Like one clean sweep, except that you have to clean everything again because he didn't check the pockets and there's
Yeah.
tissues all over.
Or if like you take
everybody's
your
clothes.
pants off and you have your socks like bundled up. Now they're all bundled on the bottom. You gotta like.
Or
yeah.
like you ever leave a chapstick in your pocket? That's the worst. It gets all over everything.
And it like
Yeah.
disintegrates.
You gotta check the pockets. It's really important.
Yeah. So to go
Another-
back.
Another love. So okay, I guess it's my turn now. I love the dogs I take care of. So I started a couple months ago doing dog walking and like check-ins. Like we just come and like feed a dog, water, make sure they have water.
Yeah, it's called
and stuff.
Rover
It's
is
called
the app,
Rover. And I have like repeat clients now, and I just love them. They're the sweetest dogs, and I love getting out of the house for a couple hours every day to go see them and take them on walks, and they're all like so cute and sweet, and it just makes me happy.
It's a win-win because like I don't really want a dog. The older I'm getting, I'm like I don't really want a dog, and we travel a lot, so I'm like this is a good like compromise, and you make a few bucks doing it, so
Yeah.
it's like a win-win across the board.
It's really fun, and all the dogs that I take care of are really sweet, and
One of them she watches only has 3 legs. He
yeah,
hops
I
around.
have a tripod.
She, right? It's a girl.
Yeah, she's the sweetest thing. She unfortunately has cancer, so she had to get her front left leg removed. But she doesn't
still
slow
hops
her down.
around.
She hops around, and she's a happy dog. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
Love her so much. She's so cute.
Like yeah, Brian's pure awesomeness. Yes.
They are. I think like
I don't
they
know what
just make
happened
you
to
happy.
me. I grew up with dogs and I had some cats, and now I've kind of transitioned. I was like, I don't want any animals in the house. I don't know what happened to me. I just kind of became, I wouldn't say a clean freak, but I like things.
A grump.
Yeah, like I'm a grump. I just hit 44. I'm getting up there. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's just I feel like we travel enough, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. Like we like to randomly go out sometimes for all day. So I was like, I don't want to have to always worry because I know with people with dogs, they can't leave for more than 8 hours, 10 hours. Like they can't, like randomly. We'll just go to like DC sometimes. Just we don't do it very often, but like I don't want to have to go to DC, see something real quick, and then come back. I want to spend 16 hours there, and then come back home or something.
You can bring the dog with you.
Yeah, I know. You can't go in everywhere.
I know.
We were gonna do the White House tour, and then can't bring a dog in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to do the White House tour, and they declined us for some reason. I forgot. That was like
That was a
years
few
ago.
years ago.
I was like,
I
don't want to go anyway.
It was for my 40th birthday. You tried to do it and they denied us.
So one little hack. I don't know if it's a hack, but get some crutches or something. And I hear what you can do if you go on the tour. I hear the tour of the White House isn't great. It's not very long, but I hear that if you have an accessibility, so you can have crutches. You can have crutches or wheelchair, and you have to go in an elevator and you get special access through like a kitchen or something. I've heard people who said that they had a wheelchair.
No.
Somebody in their family had a wheelchair and they had special access to areas that you couldn't get
couldn't
into.
see normally.
I don't know. It's not a hack, but I'm just saying I thought that was kind of interesting how you can see parts of it.
I think it would be cool to see, even if it's not a long tour. One day we'll try to apply for it again.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. I think you get selected. It's like a lottery. There's only so many. I don't remember.
There's only like so many tours that they do, I guess. So they are probably backlogged. So I'm sure a lot of people want to do it.
This is so funny because years ago, you used to be able to go trick-or-treating. You used to be able to go to the front door of the White House and knock.
Anymore.
You can't do that anymore.
Not anymore.
That was probably back in, the 60s, 70s? I don't know, maybe even earlier than that.
People weren't as crazy.
Yeah, now they have fences. If you've never been to D.C., it's just fences everywhere. We did do the Capitol tour last year. I like the Capitol building.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
He says,
yeah.
Oh, Dave's back. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
You're back. Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah.
Just talking about things we love. What's something that you guys love this week? Anything. It could be like we said. I made pulled pork. Mark loved it. It doesn't have to be anything business related, work related.
White Horse Tour would be pretty darn cool.
I think it would be too. I've heard mixed reviews of it. I think.
Well, it's
people
not
are like, oh, it wasn't what I expected. But
it's not very big.
Of course, they're not going to show you everything. Like, you're not going to see where the
honestly,
president sleeps.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure, because it's not very big. Like, one of our things when we travel is we like to go to each Capitol building in every state. And I guarantee you, it's more impressive to see some of these Capitol buildings than it is to see the White House, because they're massive. Like the one, Austin was a good one. Denver had a good one. Like, we've been to quite a few of them. They're so impressive. The one in Utah was pretty nice.
Yeah. So one of our goals is to go to all 50 states, but then also see all 50 Capitol buildings.
Yeah. We have a list. We're at 26.
Are we that high? I don't think we're that many.
Okay.
But
we're up there.
We've done quite a few. And it's fun and it's free to do. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
You can go into any Capitol building as part of like the tax dollars that you pay.
When you live in a state, that a lot of that money goes.
Go check out your Capitol building, or if you're in a city and it's the Capitol, just go check it out because they're really cool.
Yeah, we've seen some really good ones. There's definitely a lot more I want to see. The one in Connecticut's supposed to be good.
Okay, so one of the things that Brian said he loved to hike around Price Lake this week was amazing. Yeah.
Where's Price Lake?
North Carolina.
How big is that lake? I'm going to look it up real quick while we're here. Is it a really big lake? Let me see. Price Lake.
We've done some really nice hikes in North Carolina.
How big is this? Oh, that's a pretty big lake, yeah.
Yeah, I bet that was nice.
It's near Blowing Rock. Oh, that's like a lot. That's like really inward. I see where you are. Oh, that's like near Asheville almost. I see.
Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna be going to Tennessee in a couple weeks. We're gonna be taking a little road trip, so maybe we'll, if it's somewhere on the way,
detour.
Yeah, a little detour. We'll see how far it is. That's not a bad idea. You walk around the whole lake. It looks like, I don't know.
That looks really nice.
I lost it, but yeah, that looks cool. I'll keep that in mind. 2 miles around it. Okay, cool. That's not bad. 2 miles.
I bet that would be really nice.
So what I did is I just saved it on my phone because I'm getting old. I'm not going to remember this stuff. So now when someone tells me something, I literally pull it up. I like doing that. We'll be at an event or something and someone's like, hey, you should go check out this place. I'm like, you know what? Hold on. Let me pull up my phone. Because a lot of people say they're going to go do something and then you forget that conversation like 5 minutes later.
What is it? A bit over 2 miles? Yeah, that's a nice hike.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah.
And in your back, that's great.
That's cool.
Well, it sounds like you live in a really
that
nice
part
area.
of North Carolina we haven't explored. We've been to Asheville.
And
we went to Hendersonville. I like Hendersonville more than Asheville.
It's nice there.
Asheville to me wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was okay. Like it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was my favorite city, but we did go to the Biltmore Resort.
Yeah, the Biltmore Estate is really cool.
That's like really cool. Let me see. How far is Hendersonville from? Yeah, Hendersonville was
Google mapping.
was really cool.
Yeah, it's like just outside of Asheville. We liked it there a lot.
So Asheville. Oh yeah, Hendersonville's south, right, of Asheville. Yeah, that's nowhere near. Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out. Yeah,
If you get a chance, give it a visit. Blue Ridge. Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to Tennessee in a couple weeks, and I love that part.
And we're gonna go back to Chattanooga. So when we were living on the road full time doing digital nomad, Chattanooga was the one city that it really got me. I was like, holy crap, I really, really like it here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole world changed because then the pandemic happened, and now we're here in New Jersey, right outside of Philly. I, at one point, was like, we should think about moving here.
Mm-hmm.
But then everything got really stupid with COVID, and then Chattanooga became like a pretty big like hotbed, so all the places got expensive, and maybe I don't know.
I want to go back and see
we're gonna
if
go
I
see
like
it in a few weeks,
as much as I did years
the
ago
first
when
time
we went.
Yeah, I liked it because it was like a big enough city where there's like stuff to do. There's tons of hiking, but I just like the way it was like laid out. It was like you have all these mountains around you, the city at the base of the mountains, and you're not too far from like Atlanta, so you have some other. You can get to other places in that country pretty quick from there.
Yeah, and nice. we like to travel, and Atlanta is like a huge airport hub in this country, so
yeah.
You know, it was like we were seriously considering it, but then we just ended up here, which is fine because I like.
And it's so funny because everything flipped now because we were here in Jersey. This is one of the best real estate places, but for so many years, it was one of the worst. So now it's like reverting backwards. Like everybody moved to Florida. And now people are starting to move out of Florida because they have to go back to work, and it became very expensive, especially, Brian, in the Tampa area is just so expensive now. It doesn't even make any sense to me. What is this? Johnson City, Tennessee? Check that out.
We've never been there. We've been to Gatlinburg, Chattanooga, Nashville. Where else have we been? Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, Pigeon Forge is fun. Pigeon Forge reminds me of Orlando, Florida, where it's just touristy, cheesy stuff, but it's fun. That's what Dollywood is. We're going to go back to Dollywood.
We're going to go to Dollywood again. I'm so excited because I love Dollywood.
Yeah. I like Tennessee for sure.
Tennessee's pretty fun. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, crazy in Tampa. Yeah, I know. It's... Ugly.
Yeah, I mean, we have family and friends that live in Tampa, and it's getting very expensive to live there. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like the traffic. It's like they never... It makes me laugh because there's people who are kind of new to Tampa, and they're like, oh, they're going to upgrade the transit system. There will never be trains in a city like Tampa. Like Tampa is... You're car dependent. You have to have a car. There is no way you're getting around anywhere else. Yeah. And so it's like a pipe dream. They've been saying it since I was a kid in the 80s. Oh, we're going to have these bullet trains from Tampa to St. Pete. And I was like, that it never happened. I was like, it just makes you laugh because some cities, they're just never going to upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else that you love before we sign off?
Love you.
I love you too.
No. I think, I don't know. I'll come up with 100 things after we get off the live stream.
I want to say one more thing. I love being an auntie. I love my nieces and nephews.
Even if they're just through friends, right?
Yeah.
Not like...
Well, it just kind of got me thinking because we're going to Tennessee and we're meeting up with friends who have a 5-year-old, and he's kind of like my little nephew. And I love that kid so much. He's so fun, and I'm so excited to see him. Even though he's not like my real nephew, he still is. Yeah. But we do have actual nieces and nephews, and
they're in Florida. I love all we don't get to see them as much.
Yeah, we don't get to see them as much, but it's always fun when we do. Some of them are adults now.
Oh, I know one thing I'm loving is the weather finally got decent around here. We're getting toward the end of April. And it literally was 30-something degrees this morning. I'm like, all right, this is the last cold snap, I think. So we're going to be back in the 70s and 80s real soon. So if you live in the Northeast area in this country, the spring is wild. Like it could be 80 one day, 20 the next, windy, stormy, snow.
It's been very
it doesn't
rainy.
Know what the hell to do. Yeah, it's been real rainy too, yeah. That's cool, yeah.
I love my nephew. Yeah, it's so fun. So, like, I never wanted to be a mother, but I love being an aunt because you can play with them and do fun things with them and then return them. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see my friend's son. He's 5 and he's just like a ball of energy, and he's so funny. I just love him so much.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have nieces and nephews.
All right, cool. Look at that. We're exactly at 1 hour. So I think we're
Wow.
going to end this right about now. So yeah, everyone have a good weekend, a good week.
Yeah.
We might be back. I don't know. We just kind of come on whenever. It's like whenever she's not walking dogs, probably is when we're jump on. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't have any dogs today. That's why we did this.
All righty, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.